Alright, so I haven't uploaded a video in a long time. Moved down to California. Haven't really worked on the truck too much. But I got COVID. About a week ago I tested positive. So COVID projects. I made this cool little workbench here. Gotta love it. Got the recessed miter saw. Kind of set up shop here, and I'm finally gonna put this roof rack on the runner, and it's gonna be full length from the windshield to the tailgate area, the hatch I guess you would call it. And it's a Kurt roof rack from Amazon, and I bought 2 extensions for it, one here, one there, so it extends it all the way out to the front. I bought a bunch of extra crap for it, and originally I was just gonna set it on these factory rails that the 4runner had on it, but I realized that the top of the runner has like a curvature to it, and the center of the rack is hitting the top of the runner, so came up with a better idea. So my father-in-law totally hooked it up with this unistrut, and the way it's bent right there on the top, it actually is super rigid, doesn't move, super stiff, won't bounce, nothing. So it had some holes in it already. I went ahead and marked and drilled all the holes, and essentially the idea is that the unistrut is just going to sit right on top of these rails here. And I bought some longer screws. They are M6 screws, M6 by 30 millimeters long, and that's gonna go through that unistrut and into the roof of the 4runner through the existing holes to hold it in place. That way it'll extend all the way to the windshield of the 4runner. And then it'll be real rigid, so I could put weight up in the front and it won't bounce or bow or anything like that. So already cut them to length, already drilled the holes, just gonna paint them black because my OCD and everything, and then they'll be good to go and mount to the vehicle hopefully later this afternoon. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint those up now. Alright, so I got a first little tack coat going, but the cool thing about this unistrut that he gave me, my father-in-law gave me, was these guys right here. These little spring action guys. And they sit inside the track, and they'll slide up and down the track wherever I want to put them. So wherever my holes are drilled in the roof rack itself, that one right here, I can position it right there with it. And then when you tighten it down, it pulls it up to the top of that unistrut, and it'll hold it steady and tight. So these guys right here are actually the 1/4 20s that I bought. It's 1/4 20s by 1.5 inch. And the actual roof rack is 1 inch diameter here, so 1.5 inches will give me enough to go through that into the little spring-loaded thing, and it'll give me enough room to tighten everything down so it'll hold it in place. So those are going to be held on, bolted through this rail and into the top of the runner, and then the roof rack itself will be held on with those 1/4 inch 20s, and just straight into the little spring-loaded things. So he gave me a whole bag of these things, so those are going to be awesome. And then in theory it should work. I'm not sure how well it lines up, but I feel like if I can get a little bit of an angle on these, doesn't have to necessarily be straight up and down. If I can get it at an angle, get the bolt through the roof rack, and then tighten this down as best I can, it'll pull it up tight and should hold pretty well. So in theory it should be pretty good. We'll see if I have to do any type of fabricating or anything with those unistruts. Maybe I have to do a little bit of extra welding or something, we'll see. It's day 2 because of the painting, but this is the gist of what it's looking at. It's pretty slim, low profile. Holes are drilled. That's pretty much how it's going to be secured with these. This is not tight all the way, but you can kind of see the little spring loaders down inside of the track there. These just run straight through into it. So there's one here that I gotta reline up, but it's down in there. Hard to see. That's the gist of it. It goes all the way back. So it's damn near on. The roof rack sits just a little bit wider than the unistrut, but that's why I'm leaving these guys loose right here. You can see the screw is just kind of still sticking up a little bit, and that's because if I leave it loose, I can shimmy the roof rack back and forth, get the screws lined up in the little spring-loaded sets inside the unistrut, and then once I get them all started, that's why I got this little pick, so I can move the little spring loaders back and forth and underneath there and line them up with the holes. And once I get them all started, then I can go back and tighten everything down really tight. And the reason I use these type of head, the little recessed head or whatever, the bevel, is so that way it'll cinch down real flush and nice into the top of this roof rack, and then you won't really be able to see the screws too much. So I'm gonna get these all in and tighten down real good, see what this looks like. All right, and that's that. See how flush it sits? Nice and low profile. And I mean, this thing, it's sturdy. It'll move the whole damn rig. That's with the hatch open. So it goes from back to front. So now that that's done, I'll show you guys a little something. Alright. Got this light bar off of Amazon. So this is the exact width of the roof rack. So it'll go right on the front, across there. That light bar is going to be gone, and I'm going to mount a winch there. And then I also got these guys, little pod lights you mount on the sides of the roof rack, and that'll be for like camping and stuff. Or like rock lights or anything like that. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. I got a rocker switch, green rocker switch to match the rest of the green lights in the interior, and these little grips that'll mount to the top of here, so I can mount that to the roof rack. So that's the game plan. Also gonna try mount a shovel and high lift jack and things like that up there, but here it is. It is on and good to go. And it sits so flush. My father-in-law came in clutch with those unistruts. He had a good idea there. So it's awesome. So I went to Ace because I could get some of these X bolts for these grips, because I'm pretty sure it came with hardware, but I don't know where the damn hardware went, so there's that. So I got those, figured out where I'm gonna put the lights, got all the hardware for those. I think what I'm gonna do is put the lights, the pod lights, one here and one on the back one. And of course the light bar is gonna go across the front. And Only other problem I have is a while back I installed this fuse box right here inside the little cargo area in the quarter panel there. But the only thing I don't like about that fuse box, I installed it for this. I'm gonna come through right here. I'm gonna punch through here. And the only thing I don't like is I'm gonna have to go all the way, wire everything all the way to the front to the switches, the rocker switches, then wire everything all the way back to the fuse panel. So I might figure out where to relocate the fuse panel somewhere up in the front, so I only have to run the wiring up one time and then not have to worry about it because it'll be all next to each other. So I gotta figure that out. I'm thinking maybe take this off and mount it somewhere inside of there, but I haven't decided yet. Electrical is my least favorite thing, so it should be fun, but I'm super hyped about it. I just drove around with it on there to Ace and I love it. It's awesome. I'm gonna figure out how I can put the windscreen across so I can hear it humming inside. I know I'm gonna get a little bit of a hum, but it'll be good. All right, so I pulled this portion of the dash under the steering wheel out because I really want my switches to mount right here on that port. So, pulled all that out, and I'm kind of looking right here maybe to put the fuse panel maybe up here. I don't know if it's gonna fit there though. We're just kind of throwing ideas around, but when I pulled that portion of the dash off here, on the back side, they had this little heat shield firewall thing that was in there, like that. And it had like basically plastic rivets that were holding it in place. I don't know if this is necessarily a heat shield or if it's just like reinforcement or what, but I drilled out all the plastic rivets so I could take this off. So now I can mount my switch panel, my switchboard right here. And we'll mount it right there. So now I just gotta cut the dash up here so I can fit this in there and we'll be good to go. And I'm sure I gotta rewire this. I don't know why all these switches are in line, but they are. So I'll have to rewire all that too. So that'll be a good time. But we got the dash out and we got where we're gonna mount everything for the switchboard. Look at that. Turned out way better than I expected it to. So cool. So I got the wiring all ran and zip tied down the side, and I put it inside of like that protective covering, like I said. Got that all wired up, and it goes down through the back and in through, like I said, that wiring harness for the hatch, for the power for the hatch. So it's all just tangling here. We're gonna do the wiring now. Just run it up, figure out where I'm gonna put that fuse box and everything. Took a quick break because I'm building some shelves for my wife, but that's pretty much it. Went to the Harbor Freight and got some toys here, heat gun and some more terminals and some shrink tubing, shrink wrap. So we'll get it done. I'll show you guys where the wiring all went, just if you wanted to do it and had an idea or needed an idea. All right, it is currently a wired mess. I gotta do some tucking and zip tying and stuff, but there's the fuse box and there's the switch panels. So the pods, all 4 of those, and both the light bars, I wired them together. That one's gonna go bye-bye soon, but for now it's gonna stay. And I just ran everything along the floorboard, up over the wheel well, back in here, up and over, ran it up, and it comes up to where I came down through. But if you look right here, I used some quick disconnect joints and just taped over them. And the reason I did that is in case I want to ever take the roof rack off, I can just take this tape off, unplug these, pull the wires through. I don't have to worry about any of the wires that are running already. And then take the roof rack off, do whatever I need to do, put it back on, whatever. And that's pretty easy because there's 2 screws that hold this dome light in right here. And then once the dome light's out, that whole piece comes off right there. So it's a 5-minute deal. Boom, boom, take it down, disconnect, roof rack comes off. So that's kind of what I did there. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I mean, like I said, I gotta do some tucking and stuff, but we got all 4 pod lights, the light bar. Everything works good, so that's the new roof rack.